them all. A weekend full of high-profile matchups, championship contenders, and teams trying to turn their fledgling seasons around. We take you through the highly anticipated matches this weekend in Europe. Could Arsenal finally break their 8-year hijinks against Manchester City? I'm Redbeard. This is Targo.
How's it going, guys?
Join us as we break it all down. This is an all-new episode of Brews and Banter, and it starts right now. So, on to our games around Europe. We had some big games. Starting in Germany in the Bundesliga, we had Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin. This one ended 4-2. We said it was going to be a goal fest. It did not disappoint because both teams leaking goals at the moment. And, I mean, looking at the form, Dortmund's won 4 on the bounce. Union have lost their last 5.
They have now lost 5 in a row in Berlin. Yeah,
they're looking in trouble, man, and it's not been against good teams either. I mean, albeit Dortmund have not lost a game this season, but
also they lost to Dortmund, but then they lost to like Heidenheim or Hoffenheim, Wolfsburg, Leipzig, Darmstadt. But yeah, not good for Union Berlin.
No, and you know. If you check out our last episode, our 2 players to watch might have scored the 2 opening goals. I mean, the first goal for Borussia Dortmund, Niklas Füllkrug, with he's instrumental in their attack in this one, but he scored their first goal, followed up his own save shot, which was saved brilliantly, by the way.
Yes, it was.
And just powered it home off the post. And then Robin Gosens had a decent game, but he would equalize just 2 minutes later off a deflected header.
Yeah, I'm surprised they gave him the goal, if I'm being honest. I thought they would have called it a Füllkrug OG.
Yeah, I thought so too, but
maybe it was going on target, yeah.
Maybe they're feeling generous. I don't know. Leonardo Bonucci would put Union ahead from the spot in the 31st minute. Do you think it was a penalty kick?
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't. So yeah, the striker, I think Barons or something is his name. He goes across the ball, and so when his follow through, like he kicks the ball and then his follow through hits Hummels, the bottom of his foot, and Hummels doesn't move his foot over to to the ball. He lifts it up to block the cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then
it was already out there.
And then the attacker kicks the bottom of Hummels' shoe. I did not think it was a penalty. I thought that was harsh.
No, if that happens anywhere else on the field, it's not even a foul.
I didn't think it was a foul, yeah.
So, why would it be a penalty kick? At least it's not just England. We'll say that. But from there, it was all Borussia Dortmund, as they would score 3 unanswered, starting with a wonderful peach of a thunderbolt from Nicholas Schlotterbeck in the 49th minute. He was from the deep. From the deep. Yeah. Absolute laser beam into the top corner. And then the super sub, Julian Brandt, came on to make it 3 for Dortmund just 5 minutes later off of a fantastic counterattack. I mean, the camera couldn't even pan to Marco Reus fast enough as the guy just scissor kicked it out. He took the ball, dribbled all the way down the field. 2 amazing runs, slots it to Julian Brandt, who puts away a tidy finish.
I will say Marco Reus had a fantastic game.
He did. Mr. Borussia Dortmund himself.
Rolling back the years.
Yeah. And then former Union Berlin player Julian Ryerson would finish off a much-needed 3 points for their 4th in the 71st minute. Gio Reyna providing the cross, which was parried directly into his path. Put a shot on target. Unfortunately, it was deflected, but looked like it was going in no matter what.
Good to see Gio Reyna back. That was his first appearance so far this season.
Yeah, it's always good to see him back, especially, any young player around the world, but I mean, for us Americans, it's always good to see one of our own coming back from injury and playing well, especially a talent such as his.
And all the drama that surrounded him in the U.S. national team lately.
Yeah, especially. I mean, we'll probably cover that at some point again, because I'm sure that saga is not over since the same coach is still there. Next up, we had Atletico Madrid against Real Sociedad. This one ended 2-1. Real Sociedad could feel hard done by this one as a late penalty kick dooms them to another loss to Los Che. But Samuel Lino, man, have you watched him much this season?
No, I have not. I've watched Atletico a couple times, but that's about it.
He is a stud, man. Watching him on the ball, it's like old school Brazilian football. It's just magic at his feet. But he got the match off to a flying start. He blasted a shot into the net, giving Atleti the lead, in the 22nd minute. Caught the keeper at the near post. Nice finish.
Yeah, he did.
And then Mikel, is it?
Oyarzabal?
Yeah. Finished off one of the quickest counterattacks I've ever seen in my entire life. As Sociedad go from defending to the ball in the back of the net in 5 touches.
It was this quick little triangle along the line. Said it. Who was it? Fernandez is the
Carlos
player.
Fernandez.
Carlos Fernandez played a fantastic ball to Oyarzabal.
Yeah, who finished it off. He did have one hell of a shot, or a golazo.
Would have been
the crossbar.
Would have been
the crossbar in that one. Our players to watch: Alvaro Morata had a quiet game, missed some chances. He will probably kick himself thinking he should have scored. And then Takefusa Kubo was lively all match. I mean, his ability on the ball and his vision.
So quick, man.
I will watch every single game that he starts in just to watch that.
He is fun to watch. I don't think he lasts at Sociedad very much longer.
No, I don't either. And Real Madrid are probably kicking themselves if they let him go. But yeah, Antoine Griezmann.
They do that with a lot of players, but
yeah, I guess Martin Odegaard as well. Antoine Griezmann would provide the winner in the 89th minute through a penalty kick. That was a clear one. So
I will say Atletico looked good in the first half, and then they just kind of ran out of steam.
Yeah, it was odd. They weren't trying to sit back either. Which
no, not the first. Like I said, the first half they were creating chances. They looked good, and then tide turned in the second.
Yeah,
but Sociedad unable to get it going.
Yep. And then we had the 2 massive games in England. And how would this fledgling title race pan out after this weekend? We had Brighton and Liverpool. This one ended 2-2. And I'll be honest with you, it was a pretty even match, I would say.
I would say it was a tale of 2 halves. So ironically, Liverpool scored both their goals in the first half, but I would say didn't look the better team.
Yeah. But
Brighton looked the aggressor, I would say, in that game. You know, they got off early. Adingra got a goal. McAllister got caught on the ball. Alisson, poor positioning, I would say.
Yeah.
Didn't look like in much of a hurry to get back into goal after he passed it out. But fantastic finish by Adingra. And then it was kind of almost Brighton shooting themselves in the foot, trying to play out. Liverpool pressed. Bad passes by Brighton means a turnover in their half. And when you got a player like Mo Salah, man, that's a dangerous game to play.
Yep.
Mo Salah scored the first one, and then Szoboszlai got fouled in the box. Mo Salah steps up, takes it.
Is Mo Salah the best penalty kick taker in the world right now?
No.
Every time he steps up, seemingly, he doesn't miss. I mean, he missed one against Arsenal, but
he missed one against Bournemouth as well.
Oh, well, I forgot about that one. So I'll retract that statement. Okay, bye. Yeah, I mean, and then a wonderful free kick allows Lewis Dunk to head one in to level it. But that leads me right into our players to watch and our matchups to watch, because Liverpool's right back, who was Joe Gomez, against
At that point, Trent, had been subbed
against Kiro Matoma, and Matoma just tore up Gomez, pretty much turning him around in a circle, or like a top even, to win the free kick. Because
Trent kept him pretty quiet, though.
He did. But I mean, you put Joe Gomez on against Matoma, who is like the Energizer Bunny out there. Tore up Joe Gomez.
Man. Always looking to dribble at you.
And then, we said Estupinian against Salah, but he didn't play. And Salah's been an absolute terror all season. So, got another brace. Good for him. I have a question that's probably for another episode, but I'm going to ask it now anyways.
All right.
Who was better in the Premier League, Mo Salah or Cristiano Ronaldo?
In the Prem, probably Mo Salah. How many goals did Ronaldo score in the Prem? I guess would be my question versus Salah.
I think total for Manchester United was like 160. I know Salah's beating him by like 30 some odd goals and a plethora of assists. So, hence why
it's the assists, I think, is what does it for me.
Oh, and his vision too. Like some of the balls he plays, you're like, how did you even see that? Like seeing his angle for Luis Diaz's goal earlier in the season, where he played it across the defense.
Yeah, so here we go. So for Manchester United on his first stint, he scored 118. On his second stint, he scored 27.
So 145?
That's a lot of goals, man.
Yeah. Mo Salah,
right, let me look at Mo Salah real quick.
190, well, plus 2 for Liverpool.
Yeah, 192 plus the couple for Chelsea.
Yeah. And no one cares about that.
I think it's the assists, man, that Salah has.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was curious. I think Mo Salah is a much better player in the Prem than Ronaldo was.
But let us know. Who would you take? Who's the better player in the Prem? Only the Premier League.
Exactly. Only the
Ronaldo in La Liga. Whoo!
It's a whole nother animal. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Ryan Gravenberch should have had his first goal for Liverpool.
Should have.
Mm-hmm.
And João Pedro also should have won it for Brighton.
So, I think I think it was a fair result in the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on to the big match of the weekend. Last year's treble winners against the team that should have won the title, but crumbled under the pressure at the end of the season. And yes, it does pain me to say that.
I wouldn't say should. I will say could have won the title, but crumbled.
Okay. We'll go
Change
with that.
it.
Yeah. Anyways, in a game that wasn't what everyone was expecting due to suspensions and injuries, it was still a chess match nonetheless, as Arsenal came out 1-0 winners in this battle of the master against the apprentice, and it did not lack any drama as Arsenal get their first win against Manchester City in 8 years.
And Manchester City lost 2 games for the first time in 5 years.
5 years. Yeah. So let's go through the players who were injured or not at full fitness in this match. We had Bukayo Saka, did not play, wasn't on the bench. Kevin De Bruyne, we all know, was injured. Gabriel Martinelli, Thomas Partey, Jack Grealish, and John Stones, all not at full fitness, but all on the bench. Rodri was suspended. That's a lot of game-changing players to be out.
Yeah.
So before we get into this, I will say the game at the Etihad, as long as all of these players are fit and not suspended, will look much different.
It has that potential. I was curious about the lineups. So Arsenal, they played Gabriel Jesus on the right side where Saka usually plays, and they started Eden Nketiah and Leandro Trossard up top. But it was Jorginho came in to that midfield.
Which it played along Rice as two holding midfielders, allowing
Which I
Odegaard.
like that because it allowed Odegaard to be a real number 10.
Yes. And I loved it as well. When this Arsenal squad is at full strength, you have to start Thomas Partey and Declan Rice in that role with Odegaard playing as a true number 10. You have to if you're Arsenal. I'll get into that more later.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to. Against a team like City, yes. A team like Liverpool, yes. A team
Brighton,
like
yes.
Bournemouth,
Newcastle,
no.
probably. Well, okay.
But I will say City also surprised me with their lineup. I was hoping to see Jeremy Doku get the start.
I was too.
Maybe for Kovacic or Rico Lewis. And it was interesting that Bernardo Silva started in that Rodri role, that defensive midfield role.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice. I mean, he was, pinging balls over the place, kind of like Rodri did. But he lacks that physical presence that Rodri has.
Yes.
I will give Rico Lewis props, and probably why Pep started him was because of the game he had against Leipzig, which he had a game and a half. Probably their best player on the field.
I just wanted to see Doku run at Ben White, man.
Oh, I did too, and I'll get into that later too. Because Ben White got the better of him when he was on the field. But Kovacic was suspect all game. I agree. He probably should not have started.
Should we just jump into it then with Kovacic?
No. I want to get into the David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale debate. Because
it continues, because David Raya started and he had some questionable moments.
I would say in the first half, he was poor. Very poor.
With his feet, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost got an argument from me.
Julian Alvarez. A lot of the long balls he were playing, there was nobody around.
They were going out of bounds.
Yeah. He was absolutely poor in the first half, and I'll be honest, I was yelling at the TV. I was. I'm like,
we all were, man.
Why the F is Aaron Ramsdale not playing? The second half, I'll give him credit. His balls were a lot better. He helped dictate play. He slowed it down a lot. So that part was good. But, you need someone who's going to be consistent for both halves. And I know Mikel Arteta is a huge fan of him, yes, but I'm a huge fan of Aaron Ramsdale. So I don't make the decision, so I'm not going to argue. All right. Now we can get into the Kovacic situation because this one, I'm going to start it off by saying I know Mark Clattenburg does not give red cards for 2 yellows. He doesn't do it. I think I saw a stat where he's given 2 red cards for 2 yellows in the last 116 games. That being said, let's start with the first tackle because
so Mark Clattenburg's he's a pundit now, correct? He's an old ref.
Mark Clattenburg. It was whoever the ref was. Yeah.
Michael Oliver. I believe was the.
Yeah. Anyways, Mark Clattenburg said that the first tackle should have been a red card.
Anyways. Yes, he's a pundit on ESPN. Yeah.
Which leads me to the first tackle because it was very similar, if not worse, than the one that Curtis Jones had last week, where he got sent off.
I don't think it was worse. I didn't think it was a red either, though. He caught him lower than Curtis Jones. He wasn't high on the shin.
For me, it was
on the foot.
The action of the leg and the force put into it. Curtis Jones
caught him low, though.
Anyways, there is an argument to be had. Yes, it was a yellow, maybe very close to being a red. Yeah,
orange card.
There was such a thing. It was a high tier yellow card is what they were saying during the match.
Yeah,
I was yelling at the TV, so I didn't care. Anyways, the second tackle.
2 minutes later, however.
2 minutes later on Declan Rice, where he's coming from behind him, slides to his side, and catches his foot. Not really near the ball at all.
Studs caught his foot.
Studs caught his foot, yet again. By the letter of the law, that is a yellow card.
Should have been.
which would equal a second yellow, which would have been a red. But nothing was given, and he just waved him off like, no, I'm not giving him a card. And because of that,
VAR is lucky Arsenal won this game.
yeah,
Otherwise, I think that would be looked at a lot harder.
Yeah, and Michael
A
Oliver
lot more
should be
scrutiny.
thanking his lucky stars. But because there was no card, VAR couldn't intervene at all. So that's why there was no red card. So getting into the goal.
Masterclass of substitutions by Arteta. That's what it is, man.
It really was, man. He brings on Thomas Partey, Kai Havertz, and Takahiro Tomiyasu at the same time, but Martinelli at halftime. And Martinelli has Arsenal's only 2 shots on target in this match. But it's literally a long ball from Thomas Partey that's headed to Kai Havertz from Tomiyasu, who I still don't understand why he was that far up the field.
Yeah, right. He was playing like a center forward, man.
I know, he really was. And then Kai Havertz with an absolutely beautiful ball, laying it off to Martinelli to just power that ball first time. Hits Nathan Ake in the face. In the face. And I don't
Straight
think
to the dome.
I don't think he knew anything about it.
Oh, he didn't, man. It hit him square in the nose.
And it gets deflected, and Ederson just puts his arms up and watches it go into the net. What a masterclass by Mikel Arteta.
I screamed so loud when that went in.
I'll be honest, I'll tell you exactly where I was. I was supposed to go help someone move a dryer, and I was in my car, and then they said they moved it, so I was walking back into the house, and I was watching it on my phone, and I ran face first into the door, yelling and celebrating. My phone went up in the air. People on the street are looking at me. I had to turn around like, oh, I'm sorry. Don't worry about me. My girlfriend comes running up to the door and is like, are you okay? I'm like, no! Arsenal scored!
No, I'm more than okay.
I'm more than okay. But yeah, what a sequence of events that was.
Mine wasn't
in the
that
game
awesome.
And for me, yeah.
Mine was more like I screamed into the couch cushion and just punched it a bunch.
Yeah. Same, but different, but still same. But yeah, what a goal it was, and you could see what it meant for Arsenal as their bench cleared. Everybody's in the corner celebrating with Gabby, and man, what a moment it was. And I'll be honest with you, in the match, especially in that second half, it is exactly what Arsenal deserved.
They were the aggressors, the one pushing for that goal. Man City looked flat, man. They did not create much at all. Erling Haaland is counting down the days until Kevin De Bruyne comes back. I can tell you that much right now. He is starving for some service. Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva.
That was the big thing in this match is Erling Haaland got literally zero service whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, and then when he would have a sniff of the ball, William Saliba would just put him in his pocket, man.
Or on the ground. One of the two.
I will say, in this game, Saliba, man, he looked the best defender in the world.
There is definitely an argument there.
One of the best for sure.
I will wait for somebody to prove me wrong. So please, do so in the comments. I welcome it.
Yeah, William Saliba, man, he's quick, he's got strength, and he makes smart decisions.
Not only that, he is the most cool and collected defender I've ever seen. No panic ever from that man. I've seen him dribble out of 2-3 players in front of him and then dribble all the way upfield. Like, he is a one-of-a-kind Rolls Royce of a defender, and Unai Emery, thank you so much. That's all I gotta say.
Those 2 years in France, man, I know they were frustrating for you Arsenal fans and us, but it's definitely paid off.
It's definitely paid off.
And I would argue that with him being in the squad last season, I think Arsenal could have won that title. As you said, they should have won.
Yes, 100%. But let's go back to Erling Haaland, man. Uninspired, didn't even try to really get back. I understand Pep wants him to stay forward, but didn't even try to get himself involved. He looked uninspired in this one, as did the rest of the City squad. Do you think that in the league this season, they just don't care?
It's tough to say because we kind of saw this last year as well at the beginning of the season. And then after that World Cup break, we saw, man, they just didn't lose a game.
Yeah. But I mean, first half of the season, Erling Haaland was putting in goals like it was.
He's still putting in goals. Is it
Halloween.
Record-breaking goals? No, but we kind of suspected he wouldn't have another record-breaking season. But again, it's still early, is the thing they got going for him. I mean, we're only 8 games in.
We are, and a lot of these reactions in the grand scheme of things, it might not matter any bit that Arsenal won this game.
Like in reality, I really don't care about the table much until maybe 10 or 15 games are played. Then it's like, okay, we're seeing where teams are starting to place in that table.
Yeah. I mean, for City, for me, though, I mean, there was no ruthlessness from them. I mean, Nathan Ake missed it was a stretch of a chance, but it was an open chance. And it seemed to be a bit of arrogance about their play. I mean, even Erling Haaland was quoted afterwards as saying they pretty much just came to play their football when this Arsenal side has gaping weaknesses, as we've seen this season. And they didn't nullify their strengths either. So, I mean, is this a player's mentality thing or is this a Pep thing?
It could be coming off a treble thing. It could be missing your two best midfielders in Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri thing. I mean, those are huge losses that I think would affect any team.
Well, then let me pose a question to you, because we've known Kevin De Bruyne has been out, but we've seen some magnificent performances from City this season. Is Rodri the most important player in the City side?
It's looking like it. Because, I mean, you think about their defense, they got a crap ton of fantastic defenders. Gvardiol, Akanji, Ake, Kyle Walker.
John Stones.
Ruben
Diaz.
So, I mean, they got plenty there. Up forwards, they got Haaland, they got Alvarez. Wings, Doku, you got Foden, Grealish, Doku.
Yeah.
The midfield, I mean, Bernardo Silva, Calvin Phillips.
Rodri.
Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri.
And then Kovacic.
Matthias Nunez.
Rico Lewis, I guess. Yeah. Well, I don't know why he didn't play either. That's a whole nother question.
So,
yeah.
They're definitely missing Rodri.
And then to the other side of the coin, we have Arsenal, who we could see how much this win meant to them. I mean, not harp anymore on William Saliba, but like how good were the Arsenal center backs in this game?
Oh, Saliba was fantastic. Gabriel did good. I thought even Zinchenko did pretty well defensively.
Yeah. Tomiyasu helped on the goal, was good defensively, and Ben White took Jeremy Doku to school.
Declan Rice had a fantastic role in that defense. Had one of the best tackles I've ever seen.
Jorginho even had a good game. And yes, Declan Rice with that tackle. Holy crap.
Jorginho, man, I don't know. I swear, every time he has to run, he looks like he struggles. Like he puts his head down and he tries so hard.
He's just slow.
Just for this little run. But like he has to do it like every time he sprints. That was hilarious.
But just to back up your William Saliba comment, I mean, he won 100% of his ground duels, 97% pass accuracy, even with City pressing him. 100% of his aerial duels won. And then the best stat of them all to back up, I wait for anyone to tell me a better defender, is he is yet to be dribbled past all season. All season. And most of last season. What?
You must have known I was going to say he's one of the best defenders. You were ready 100%. For that comment, weren't you?
Yeah, two minds think alike. But yeah, this Arsenal squad, man, could this win propel them to the next level? I mean, Declan Rice propelled them to a new level, but I feel like this was the monkey that needed to be taken off their backs.
It's tough to say if one win can really boost them to the next level. I think it would take a series of performances. a couple more convincing wins, a nice win in the Champions League. Though I think those kind of things, yes, can then give you some momentum. I mean, it's a win is better than if they lost this game.
Yeah. Oh no, not again.
But we've seen teams, man, get a big win and then come back to reality real quick. Like that Liverpool thumping of Manchester United. They came down to ground real quick in the next game.
Yeah.
Where I believe they drew. I think they drew. So.
Well, I mean, even Newcastle this week, right? They thumped PSG, drew West Ham.
And so that's kind of this thing is, emotions run high, adrenaline's high, and then it's tough to get that back. But they have an international break coming up, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, Targo, I will give you credit. You did beat me this week. You did.
I did.
Whether it's by 1 or 1.5, because I said for the Arsenal game, if Saka starts, Arsenal would win. If not, draw. So I gave myself a half a point. So you win by 1.5. We're all tied for the season with 3 wins apiece and 2 draws. So.
All right. My comeback is complete then, just about.
Just about.
All right, well, let's move on to this VAR controversy. VAR and the sad state of human error that's going on in this, and how can Brews and Banter FC, Redbeard and Targo, make it better? Well, we're going to tell you. We're going to give you a few ways on how VAR can be better. Why don't you go ahead, Fred, and tell me your number 3 way you would make it better.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, I just want to, come back to last weekend and why this whole conversation started, right? Because of the whole
Liverpool-Tottenham.
Luis Diaz was onside and they called him offsides, and VAR confirmed that he was onside and they didn't do anything about it. But not only that, independent panel found that Diego Jota should not have been sent off either for his second yellow. Just saying. There was 7 mistakes last week. If you want me to tell you all of them, I can. We got Luis Diaz, incorrect goal for offside. Diego Jota's second yellow. Villa's second versus Brighton when Nicolo Zaniolo was in the line of vision for Brighton's goalkeeper. Brentford was denied a clear penalty.
I disagree with that one. I think that was a goal.
This is not me saying this. So this is not opinion. This is the panel's opinion. Yeah. So
the Brentford one that you're talking about, Matt Turner fouling Johan Visa.
Johan Visa, yeah.
That was a foul, yeah.
So that being said, yes. What are my observations on this, or how would I change it, or should we just get rid of it? Well, my number 3, because the NFL was in London this week, have the ref go pitch side to the monitor for every single VAR intervention. It's not going to take much longer. It's not. Because they sit there and the ref's like, wait for like 5 minutes every single time. But I'm talking every single one. These refs are in shape. They can run to the sideline and back.
That's a little much.
It would fix it. There would be no miscommunication because the ref who is watching the whole game would see every incident broken down exactly how VAR is doing it. And there would be no miscommunication. They do it in the NFL. Ref makes the final decision, but discusses it with the entire team where there is no mistakes.
There's also commercials in the NFL. There's no commercials
in
NFL, football.
I'm only talking about this part. Football in America in general, American football, is dumb. They play 60 minutes of football and it takes them 4 hours to play a game because of commercials and stoppages. So I don't want to get into that.
Well, I'll tell you one of mine then, because it's kind of similar to what the NFL does. Okay. It's the refs having to announce to the stadium the calls they make.
So stopping nonetheless and announcing.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a real-time conversation between the referee, the viewers, and the people in the stadium. I think this would definitely make them more accountable for their decisions.
It also they might be forced to take more time on it because of that.
Well, I mean, in that Luis Diaz situation, I'd rather have it take an extra 15, 20 seconds than a goal not be allowed.
Yeah.
And so that was one way that I thought they could make it better is keep them accountable, man. Have them announce their decisions to the 60,000 people surrounding them and to the millions watching on
And
TV.
the millions. Anyways, I couldn't help myself. But I do have one to add on to that too is, why not just allow them to bring play back? If they make a mistake, stop play. Just stop it right there and say, we were wrong. It's not one of my things to change, but it should be. Anyways. Okay, my number 2. Just fucking get rid of it.
Ooh.
Soccer and football has been around for hundreds of years. Without it, we've only started to get mad at it since it got invented, and they couldn't figure out how to use it properly. So just get rid of it. It worked just fine. Or just give it a limited capacity for use. More off-the-ball incidents and goal line technology. We had that before VAR. Just go back to that.
Yeah, and I think if you do that, I think you need to start paying these refs more. I mean, these referees right now.
Pay these referees more and train them more as is. But I do agree with that.
Because these refs are making somewhere between 40 and 65,000 a year.
They should be making more like 400 to 600,000 a year.
I wouldn't say that much, but
the amount of stick and death threats they get, yes, I think so. The Premier League can afford to pay them that much. How about you?
So one of my ideas was to have ex-players in the VAR room.
That is a thought. I've heard that in a couple of other places, and it's not a bad argument.
So, for example, in that Wolves-Manchester United game, VAR didn't find it necessary that Onana had fouled that. I can't remember the Wolves player, but when he came out, clattered into the Wolves player, missed the ball completely.
Punched him in the
head. Pretty much. I think an ex-player in the room could say, hey, yeah, that's a foul.
Yeah.
I think a player, when Matt Turner kicks Johan Visa, would say, yeah, that's a foul. Or, I know this one was kind of on the fence, so we would still have some controversy, but that Curtis Jones red card, I've heard mixed reviews on that one.
Yeah. There would at least be more than one opinion, and it would be a player, so you get more of the process of the thoughts behind.
And I mean, you can train these players to the rules and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think the one thing we just want to see also is just more consistency, man.
100%.
These refs need to get in a room together and talk about what's a handball, what's a foul, what's a red card. Apparently, what's a goal.
That too.
But the consistency, better communication amongst each other, and yeah. Because I don't agree with you. I don't think they should abolish VAR. I do think they should keep it.
I don't think they should get rid of it. I just think it's a thing to do. Like, if you want an option, that is one. I mean, there were a lot of missed calls and a lot of offsides that should have been, or a lot of onside calls that should have been offsides, vice versa. Yeah.
And so, it's those black or white things that we don't want to see messed up. Obviously, a foul, a handball, that can always be up to interpretation. Varies from person to person. And so there will always be those sort of lapses, I guess. And But I know you and I, our number one is the same, basically. It's the automated offsides, like we had at the World Cup. That's in the Champions League. I love it in the Champions League, man. You see the animation. You see which part of his body is offside. It happens so much quicker. But the Premier League clubs voted it down.
You understand it. And that is what I don't understand, is that the Premier League voted it down. It's not hard to implement, because you just take Champions League model and implement it in England. Just install the technology. Bada bing, bada boom. It's done. So I don't get it. Could have had this all along, but you're too damn stubborn. Stupid clubs. Liverpool fans wouldn't be complaining. Arsenal fans wouldn't be complaining. I go down the whole table pretty much. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's complaining.
Bit in the ass by VAR.
Yeah. Everyone's complaining, some more than others, but nonetheless, it would fix the problem, and we could have been without this complaining the whole time.
But yeah, man, that brings us to the end of this episode. Whew, this was a fun one. Talking about how we could fix VAR. Arsenal get a big win against Manchester City. United, late comeback in stoppage time to beat Brentford. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Hit that notification bell. Make sure to check out our latest video below.
As always, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, join our Facebook group. But on that note, man, thank you guys for listening. As always, cheers.